Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have 2% alcohol Canadian blended whiskeys. And this is Harwood Canadian exceptional premium flavor, they claim. It's got a duck on it and a maple leaf, a product of Canada. Canadian whiskey, a blend, imported and bottled by Duncan Harwood Distillers Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. But in reality, that's Heaven Hill, who acquired this from Seagram's, I think in 1993. But they changed their website, so they don't list the date anymore. Well, it was introduced by an independent company years ago in the 1920s or 30s in Canada, and it was called Duncan Harwood Distilling Company of Vancouver, interestingly, British Columbia. It's all gone now. Duncan Harwoods. It was called Duncan Harwoods, apostrophe S. But they went out of business in the early 50s, mid 50s, and that was it. But I think what Seagram's did was they waited around until the trade expired, and then they picked it up and started selling it, because they have 1969, 1970 era ads, those 2 years, 69 and 70, where they're saying Harwood is back. Do y'all remember Harwood? Most people were probably like, I heard of it, I never liked it, or something, I don't know. But they brought it back, Harwood, and it's still in production today, almost 60 years later, 56 years later. But I've never seen it in my town. I bought this in Metairie, Louisiana at Dorgnac's Food Center, and it was $14.99 for this huge bottle. $14.99, amazingly. Aged 36 months, 3 years. And it's produced in Canada by somebody, but it's bottled in Kentucky by Heaven Hill. Now, Heaven Hill does own Black Velvet, and there is a Black Velvet distillery in Canada. And isn't there also a, spilled a little, isn't there also a Canadian Mist distillery? Like, don't those brands actually have their own distillery? I know there's Black Velvet, there's Crown Royal, and I think there's Canadian Mist distillery. But there is no longer a Duncan Harwood distillery. So I guess it's probably made at the Black Velvet distillery. It's pale, and it's amber. It doesn't say anything on there about flavoring added. The competitor is Tennessee Crown Club. Not made in Tennessee. Small batch, aged 7 years. The Grand Reserve, that's what it's called, the Grand Reserve, aged 7 years. In ex-bourbon barrels, and then it's finished in ex-sherry barrels. Don't know for how long. It's got a wooden cap with a synthetic rubber stopper. It's 85% corn, 15% rye. I don't know why all companies can't put that information on their labels. It sure would be helpful, but most don't. Introduced only 12 years ago, 2013. And I've never seen it, and I never saw it, never heard of it until I went somewhere in Jefferson Parish on the West Bank, and I think it was Rouse's or Savannah Discount. I can't remember. One of those stores, and it was $7.99. So for $7.99, I was willing to take the risk. Not that there would be any risk involved at that price point. Would there be? No. And I bought it, and I've been pleased with it. It's not amazing, but you know what? It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And it went toe-to-toe with Crown Royal. And I could not tell it apart from Crown Royal. Think about that. I'll be right back. But actually, the normal price is the same as Crown Royal. Don't expect to find it for $7.99. I don't think that will ever happen again in my case. The appearance is interesting because they're both the same, like amber. Do they have coloring added? It's possible. Um, Maybe I should say probable, but I don't know that. Canadian whiskey is allowed to have coloring added, and they're not required to disclose it. They're allowed to have flavoring added, and they're not required to disclose that. We do know they have to be aged in oak for at least 3 years. All the whiskeys involved. No unaged distillate. Uh, I can show you the regulate. Let's see, Canadian whiskey regulations. That looks like an addendum. Let me see if I can find the. Oh well, I can find it later. But I do know where to find it. Just will take a little longer than I thought. But anyway, I was going to show that to you. Huh. Oh well, okay. Back to the stream. I thought I could read it real fast, but it has to be a whole grain corn, rye, wheat, malted barley, not corn syrup or extract. What percentage does it have to be? Doesn't matter. Like it could be this much corn, that much rye, that much malted barley. It's up to the distiller. It smells like grain. It smells like grain. This could be tough. Let me look up one more thing. This will help you. This is from. I'll show this to you. This is from Select Club, the people that make Tennessee Crown Club. Everything you need to know about Canadian whiskey. Not much is said about Canadian whiskey in the American whiskey community, and it's unfortunate. While it often gets a bad rap, there is much to learn. Aged a minimum of 3 years in 700-liter or smaller wooden barrels. It must have a 40% ABV, must be made of cereal grain, must be made in. Compare that to Scotch whiskey regulations, and you'll be amazed at how much room Canadians have to stretch their whiskey making muscles. Another important aspect of Canadian whiskey is that it can contain 9.09 or less percent of a coloring, flavor, or other spirit, as long as this addition has been aged for at least 2 years. This 9 has been the cause of many debates. Other countries claim that this blending of spirits makes Canadian whiskey cheap and distasteful. Whiskey drinkers are realizing that this is what makes Canadian whiskey so special. This is coming from somebody that's trying to sell it, of course. By blending the spirits, Canadian distillers can experiment with all kinds of flavors, making Canadian whiskey the most unique type of whiskey on the market. And adding in wine, bourbon, rum, or sherry, among other things, is what gives some Canadian whiskey flavors that you can't find elsewhere. Go into the history of why they brought in this thing. And it goes back to U.S. prohibitions, in fact. In the U.S., it is widely believed that single malt whiskeys made from only one type of grain are better than blended whiskeys. This lack of support for Canadian whiskey, as they are often blended. Yet many American whiskeys, when they aren't faced with the same kind of prejudice, such as, for instance, bourbon. Despite that lacking in logic claim against Canadian whiskey, recent whiskey culture is becoming much more open to it. All right, so these people are on the war path. Will Canadian whiskey get recognition it deserves, or will simpler American blended and single malt whiskey steal the? Only time will tell. They don't show this Tennessee Crown Club, but hey, guess what hit the market today? I saw it in a store. Crown Royal chocolate. I said, oh man, people gonna mob the store. Crown Royal chocolate, $25.99. A chocolate flavored Crown Royal. Talking about flavoring. Oh man, people are gonna go berserk. I'm not gonna go berserk. I have too much liqueurs right now. I'll just wait for the fanaticism to end, and then I'll buy some eventually, I guess. I still never bought Crown Royal Apple all these years. Shows you my dedication to flavored whiskey. So the aroma on these is about the same. Let's go with the flavor. Fermented and distilled cereal grains, sweet corn, like you get with the candy corn, or just sweet whole kernel corn that you get in the can. Little rye spice, some vanilla. It's very similar to bourbon, but without the barrel char. You see, that's what the differentiation is. Because, like they say here, aged in ex-bourbon barrels. Oh man, very similar. There might be a little sherry pickup in my right hand here. So, price point. Harwood, $14.99 at the time of purchase. Now remember, that was about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, $14.99 for a 1,750 milliliter bottle. This one, Tennessee Crown Club, about $25 for a 750, but I only paid $7.99. Like I told you, I found it on a super sale. Very unusual. But you would have to give the win to Harwood, because it doesn't really have a better flavor, but it clearly doesn't have a worse flavor. I did a duo review with my friend David. He was very impressed. He didn't like the plastic bottle. He said, I'd dump it in a glass vessel as soon as possible. But he liked the flavor. He had to admit it was really good, and he enjoyed it. So, and and I think it's really good. So I think it deserves high marks. They actually both deserve high marks. So here we go again. You saw the tag below. I'm too far away from the video, the monitor to tell what the tag said. Usually I put my pinky over it so I don't accidentally see, but I couldn't tell. Nice stuff. Give that an A. Solid A right there. About a 9.3 out of 10, no doubt. Another sure shot winner. I never could really understand that, why people were down on Canadian whiskey, ragging on it, talking bad about it. I always like the flavor, but some people say, oh, yeah, they add flavor in and all that. Which they have a right to complain. I'm not saying you don't have the right to have a preference. And if you want to be down on it and rip it and say it's no good, that's purely fine. I'm just saying I didn't understand it because it tasted good to me. All the Canadian whiskey, well, most of the Canadian whiskeys I've tried over the years, they always tasted good. They seem quality to me. I'm not taking up for Canada because they're a next door neighbor country. I'm just saying that's what my opinion was, that it was good. If I thought it was no good, I would say it. Do I plan to buy more Canadian whiskey? Definitely. I have an unopened bottle right now on the shelf, the Crown Royal Special Reserve 12-year age. It's the new Special Reserve, replaced the older one. I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. I had to pay over $40 for it, but I was ready to be amazed, I'm going to say this is the Tennessee Crown Club because I think I'm detecting a little bit more sherry note than this one. Of course, this one could have sherry added too. Like I was showing you, the regulations, they give a lot of latitude. They can add things and they don't have to talk about it. But I was looking at the updated, I couldn't find them on this video, risk of going live, but I was looking at the updated regulations. They didn't even say anything about the 9.09 rule. It's like that rule's been scrubbed. And it's like you can add whatever you want to add. But that could be because of competition. They don't want to limit the producers. Okay, I hope it says the right code. It does. It does. All right, so that puts me at 2, 1, and 2. Nothing to brag about. 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 ties. 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 ties. But I got to keep track of that 2, 1, and 1, 2, 1, and 2. I have some coming into play that, in my opinion, are sort of inferior, although I like them. The Northern Lights, Canadian Limited, Northern Lights from 1971, Canadian Limited introduced 1972, then Gibson 72. Well, that's what people claim, 1972. Even AI, if you type it in on Google, the AI thing says, it's generally assumed that it was introduced in 1972. Who generally assumes this? A lot of people that make blogs. Where's the official information of 1972? No one has that. So I have doubts about 1972, but we'll play along, but because I know the Gibson's company is much older than that, but it doesn't really matter. That thing's aged 12 years. Still, I'm not totally in love with that product, but then I've got from 1975, James Fox, formerly of Seagram's, but a Sazerac brand since 1989. I have, we're going chronologically. You notice that. Canadian Hunter from 1984. Another one it's fine, but it's nothing great. I don't even know why Seagram's brought it out 41 years ago. I mean, they already had a famous Canadian whiskey, Crown Royal, and they're like, we need to bring in a Canadian whiskey for the 80s. My answer would have been, no, you don't. You already have one for the ages, but they did, and it's it has a following. I see it a lot, so I mean, obviously people like it. But Canadian Hunter, formerly known as Seagram's Canadian Hunter. And I had an old bottle with my friend David. Still got a bottle with Seagram's Canadian Hunter on it. I was like, why don't you drink that? Um, and then I got one from 1987 called what is the name of that thing? Oh yeah, McAdams. McAdams. Good stuff. Good, solid, good product. Um, Then we're getting into more of the more modern ones. 40 Creek from only 2000, 25 years ago. 40 Creek, good product. I got it for half price. Thank you, Walmart. A little bit unusual product. Then I've got these weird off the wall brands. Caliber from 2004. Grand Legacy from 2006. Classic Club. Nobody knows when that came out. Can't even find a trademark information on it, but it's been around for some time. Classic Club. It's probably from, to me, it looked like from the 80s, but Sazerac, they don't give you any information, but it's around, especially at Total Wine and More. Oh, and I forgot Canadian Lake from 1992, so I would have to go back to 92. Canadian Lake. Typical Sazerac Canadian whiskey, you know. And the Crown Royal Black. Oh man, my bottle's all gone. Crown Royal Black's all gone. Ain't that a shame? It is a shame because I love that product. I got the Special Reserve from 91, so I got to bring that in. Can't overlook those Crown Royals, 1991. Just hey, look, I like Tennessee Crown Club, but when it goes up against Crown Royal Special Reserve, it's going to get killed. No doubt. It doesn't stand a chance, but I mean, we kind of know that already. And a few others. I have a few others. So you say, well, man, it sounded like I was going to take weeks. If you just listen to me, you say, that's going to take weeks. I know it's a long march through the Canadian whiskeys. It's not a, if you're in a rush, I wouldn't advise doing this exercise, but exercising my wrist to lift up and my arm to lift up the glass. Oh, how sweet it is. Really is. Yeah. Then finally we'll be finished with Canada, the 51st state. Some people got very angry here and now. I'm just kidding around. I'm just joking in all seriousness anyway. So it'll be Ireland, the Emerald Isle. I have so many Irish whiskeys, and they're all beauties. And so that'll be a fun adventure. I got this new Irish whiskey, which I never tried, so I cannot comment on it. Cannot give you any preview. I mean, I can show you the bottle, but I know, I haven't tasted it. Haven't read a single review. Don't know what the score is. And then it's over to Scotland, neighboring country, across the little short waterway. Scotland, the most famous whiskey company, yeah, the company of Scotland, the country of Scotland, probably the most famous whiskey country. I got some interesting single malts and blended, and that'll close us out on whiskey for, it'll be into 2026, I'm sure, by that time. Time flies when you're drinking fun. I meant to say time flies when you're having fun, when you're tasting, you know what I'm saying. But I'm a cad, and it's a game. But and then we go into the other products. People are asking me about, no one asked me about brandy, but I think about brandy. So brandy and then rum. But people have been asking me about rum. I said, well, it's going to be a little while. And then tequila. Of course, who gets tired of tequila? I don't. Then mezcal, the wonderful world of mezcal. I have a new bottle. I think it's going to be great. And then we make a right U-turn back to rye whiskey. And I have a wonderful rye whiskey. Well, I haven't tasted it, but I'm assuming it's wonderful. It's from a really wonderful company, so it's a lot of adventures coming up. Like a flower. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, anyway, so cheers to Harwood. You are the winner, Harwood. You are the winner because you are $14.99 for this huge bottle at the time of purchase. Might be up $1 or $2 now. You have a great flavor. You have a smooth body and finish. You have an enjoyable character. You are the clear and present winner. No knock against you, Tennessee Crown Club. Beautiful glass bottle, unique bottle from Select Club. You have a good website, giving us good information on the composition of Canadian whiskey. I don't know where this company's headquartered. They're not going to give you that information, but they are defensive about Canadian whiskey, so that might give you some idea. But got nothing to do with Tennessee except for the name. But like I say, it's probably targeted for the Tennessee market, just like the Texas Crown Club targeted for Texas. I think I saw a New York Crown Club with like the Empire State Building on it. California Crown Club with like Yosemite Falls. Florida Crown Club with like the Everglades. You know what I mean? They do these thematics. Good, solid product. If you want to pay the full price, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I mean, it's only $26, but Rome wasn't built in a day. But anyway, that last, that really went across well. That last draw on that Tennessee Crown Club. Oh, you know, this is the kind of whiskey, and it's a great thing to encounter. And then some go in reverse. Some of these whiskeys, every time you try it, it's worse than the previous time. It's like listening to the Cars. Each album is worse than the previous one. You know, I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. But with Tennessee Crown Club, my experience has been that every time I try it, it's better than previous. It keeps gaining traction. It's like it's breathing in the bottle, air is getting in, it's gaining character. So this is one of those. Really, it's not that rare of a find. This is a common thing. Every time you try it, it gets better, 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 better. And I can't forget about Black Velvet. And you know what? I did forget about Black Velvet. I was trying to go chronological, 1969, but I forgot about Black Velvet, introduced in 1951, and I got it sitting in the cabinet. Oh, what a disaster. I'm probably the only one tracking the chronological order, but I do like to go in order. But yeah, self-injury. I have to go and revisit. I have to go back and get Black Velvet to bring it in to play 1951. Makes sense in a way, though. I got a Heaven Hill product, but yeah, overlooked that. Doggone it. Cuss the luck. But anyway. Black Velvet. There's a new special reserve out now. It's like age 10 years. I'd like to try it. The 8-year, I wasn't exactly, thrilled with it, but I didn't hate it, but I wasn't thrilled with it. Definitely. The new 10-year, I'm going to see. I plan to buy that one. But the Black Velvet, 3-year aged. My mindset is that it won't compete with the Crown Club, but then Harwood's only 3 years, and it won, really, like essentially won the challenge. So if you want to see any of these show and tells, let me know now. But otherwise, I'm off of this. But I do have some show and tells if anybody wants to see. But let me know going once, let me know going twice, and go on. So stay tuned. In the future for another Canadian blended whiskey taste challenge.